During a campaign event in New York City's Union Square on Thursday, Congressman Zeldin addressed recent polling. According to recent polls, Zeldin is currently trailing behind incumbent Kathy Hochul in the New York governor's race. Zeldin insisted that, quote, "This is an extremely tight race," before claiming that the excitement surrounding his campaign is, quote, "far more powerful, wide, and deep than Kathy Hochul." Despite being behind in the polls, Zeldin has picked up an unlikely endorsement from the New Era Democrats, a political group that had previously backed former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Answer any questions. The executive action will be to suspend the laws, and I enthusiastically can't wait to work with absolutely anyone in the legislature wherever we can find common ground on this, however possible. And I guarantee you that while we were recapping just the last couple of weeks of the different crimes that I discussed, that inside of prison systems, I'm sure that in the last couple of weeks, you had correctional officers and other prison staff and inmates assaulted. We've seen the numbers increasing since April 1st. We say raise the age. The mayor of the city of New York, and he's a Democrat, he says there should be a special session of the state legislature to amend raise the age. He's right. The mayor of the city of New York, he's a Democrat, and he's calling on the members of his own party in Albany to have a special session and to overhaul Castle Spell and give judges discretion to weigh dangerousness. And he's right. The one particular example of attacking Mayor Adams that I thought was particularly outrageous was Danny O'Donnell, Rosie's brother. He's a white Manhattan liberal Democrat assemblyman who went after the black mayor of New York City, saying that dangerousness is code for black. Assemblyman O'Donnell was suggesting that the reason why Mayor Adams was calling for an overhaul of Castle Spell was that Mayor Adams was racist. Now, it's one thing for that to come into your head. It's another thing to type it onto your Twitter account. It's another thing to hit that blue tweet button and actually post it. But I give the mayor a lot of credit for standing up for the people of the city of New York, calling for those two changes. He's right. But this legislature, if they're going after Mayor Adams on this, you can only imagine the type of names that they plan on having for me. But I'm not there to serve myself. I'm not there to serve these other members of the state legislature. They're not there to serve themselves or to serve me. All of us together need to serve the people of New York, and they are demanding a crime emergency to be declared in the state. They are demanding that we back our men and women in blue. They're the ones calling for the suspension of these laws. It's a lot closer than that. Listen, whenever a poll, I saw the stories get written because some Siena poll said we were down 17, and they're like, hey, now some poll comes out says you're down 8 or down 10, and that's all great. But we knew when the Siena poll that said we were down 17 came out that wasn't accurate. This is an extremely tight race, and actually in that Marist poll, when they said that there's a 10-point gap, that was of registered voters. When you pull out the sample of likely voters, it gets closer. If you look even more closely at that sample, they undersample registered Republicans, so it's even closer than the 8. And then the other thing that you can go and look at is they measure enthusiasm. They measure, are the people who plan on voting for Zeldin, more enthusiastic or less enthusiastic than the people who plan on coming out and voting for Kathy Hochul, and it's not even close. The excitement and energy that we have is far more powerful, wide, and deep than Kathy Hochul. And this is one of the consequences of her not really running much of a campaign. She's not out here with the people. Last Friday, I was doing a press conference at Morris Heights, exactly where the night before the person was stabbed to death outside of the 176th Street subway station. And I saw a guy he walked up to the press conference, and he's paying attention, he's listening. I thought maybe I'd say hello afterwards. I had no idea who he was. I never met him before. I didn't know what his background was. He looked like someone he's been through some stuff. He looked like a pretty tough dude. He says that they've essentially given up on relying on government on those streets. What he said, and there was a bunch of media cameras that were running. Were you there on Friday? Okay, it was somebody else from Spectrum was there. So there was a few media cameras that were filming this. He says that they've essentially given up on government responding. He says, if you want to fight me, you just tell me where and when. You bring your knife, and I'll bring my knife. And we'll just fight it out between ourselves. And you could tell he was deadly serious. And I tell you what, he also came across as someone who's actually done this a few times before. This is a street in New York, in this country. I've been to Iraq. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to plenty of other countries far away from here, where you would expect someone to say that they've given up on government. And if you want to fight me, just give me a chance to defend myself. That's my only request. In the Bronx, in New York City, in New York, for our streets to be like that? Hell no. There should be a zero tolerance policy at all in this state, in this city, for anyone to feel that way. The government should have your back, should be doing everything in their power to back our men and women in blue, to make sure that the laws are defending law-abiding citizens over criminals, but that is not what we have right now in this government. Anyone else in the press? Press. Okay. I'm only answering press questions. I'll do one. No, go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for keeping your promise and coming to the promise repeatedly. But I just want to ask you, I feel like as a mother, I'm living in a world turned upside down. But everything that you used to know, following the law, working hard, getting your education, being a good neighbor, is being punished, especially where I live in this Bronx. They're destroying any kind of middle class people, and they don't realize the people they hurt most are people that look like me. I have to use the subway. I have no choice. Every day I make it home, I'm thankful to God. Please, I'm begging you, do something to support the middle class. You have many Black, Latino people in the middle class. They just want to work hard, have safe streets, good schools, and good communities.
Amen. Thank you for your comments. I'll say two things on that. One, and I want to steal Allisons Thunder. Now, Allison and I were together in Rochester, and we were meeting with a group of black pastors. And the black pastors said something that really stuck with Allison and I. But I'll let Allison answer, and I want to share another thought. But Allison will know exactly what I'm talking about.
So it was a great meeting, and the pastor said quite simply that we are living in an upside-down world. We are living in a world that everything that we know to be good, they're telling us is bad. And everything that we believe in our hearts and we know in our hearts is good, is bad. Not only are they telling us it's good, but somehow it's virtuous. And he was very humble, and he just said, the Democrats have stopped coming around. They have forgotten us. They believe they know what's best for us. They now make decisions for us without consult, without coming back. And he did say that we don't always see Republicans in our area. And they were very happy to see that. And I explained to him that the congressman and I are not your typical Republicans. This is a government, this is a party of the people. And we went back and back and back, and we will keep coming back. I was a cop for 25 years in New York City. I was at work more than I was at home. So I counted myself among the community that I served, as a member of the community that I served. And they were incredibly diverse communities. And some of the most amazing people in the world, and you're 1,000% right. All they want to do is go to work and school, decide what's best for them and their families and their children, have a say in their children's education, give their children a leg up in the next generation, and hopefully they won't have to rely on mass transit. Hopefully the next generation will just be a little bit better off. That is the American dream, ladies and gentlemen, and it doesn't matter who you are, what race you are, what gender you are, what God you pray to, or what zip code you live in. That is our American dream, and that is guaranteed to all of us. And it's not being protected. Because government's #1 job is to provide public safety and then let you live. Let you work and earn and provide for your family. Let you make decisions for your family. And that is our commitment to you. Again, it's contrast. They stopped listening. We started listening. And we will be there for you today, tomorrow, and beyond, walking side by side with you. Neither do I.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to add, because I get asked about this new congestion pricing plan, where you have people who are already paying. I mean, you ride the subway in, you come here from the Bronx. There are people who drive in, and they have to pay for gas, they pay for tolls, they pay for parking, and there's a plan that's being implemented to add a new fee to be able to come into the city. My answer to that, now by the way, aside from the fact that it's ironically actually going to add more truck traffic in the Bronx, it's going to add more truck traffic on Staten Island. There'll be more cars driving through side streets in Queens and Brooklyn going for alternative routes. I say this, if you want more people riding the subway, improve the experience, make it safer, have more law enforcement there, improve the lighting, crack down on crimes that are being committed there.